mentioning that you just wanted to get this in as quickly as possible and you're recording from your phone. However, you do have a professional setup to record from. I think that's important. I know casting directors and clients who have selected talent from their iPhone auditions, knowing that they have a professional studio to record from.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Yeah. In fact, on Backstage, I've got a cover letter template that actually has the
everybody. Woo! Look at everybody. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the VO Dojo's Ask the Sensei. This is our free monthly Q&A we do on the first Wednesday of every month. I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo, based in Burbank, California. We have Jeffrey Gilbeck, who is going to be facilitating today. Thank you for being here, Jeff. And Dan Leonard, our home studio Master Sensei, is here answering tech questions. And we are excited to have Sonja Smith of Backstage join us today to answer all of your questions. So Dan, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what you're up to, and then we'll have Sonja introduce herself. And we've got a tight hour of questions, time to answer questions here. So if everybody wants to start putting any questions that you have about anything voiceover related in the chat, we will take them, write them in the chat, and then have you voice them in the room so we get to hear your beautiful voices and get your energy underneath them. And yeah, so Dan, tell us who you are and what you're up to.
All righty. Yeah, I'm Dan Leonard, the home studio master and the home studio sensei here at the dojo. Any questions you have about home studio stuff that is, troubling you, because it all troubles people because they all tend to try and get stuff from Facebook and LinkedIn, and everybody's an expert in one studio, their own. I've built over 1,000. So every room is different. Every voice is different. Do not rely on asking your best friend who might be a voice actor how to set up a home studio. Not a good idea. And I'm also the president of worldvoices.org, which is the industry association of freelance voice talent. Join us, go over to world-voices.org and find out all the stuff that we do.
Excellent. And Sonja, welcome. Where are you joining us from? And tell us a little bit about what you've been up to.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sonja Smith, and I'm joining you from West Lorne, Ontario, Canada. I live on a farm, so I apologize in advance if my internet glitches. I will be back, I promise. I'm a voiceover casting specialist at Backstage. I've been working there for the past almost 2 years. Oh my gosh, it might be 2 years today. Wow, anniversary for me. I just realized what date it is. That's real cool. 2 years helping grow voiceover at Backstage. And I have a lot of experience in kind of the online casting world and space. So I'm very excited to be here, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Excellent. Well, let's jump in. We'd love to hear where everyone's from as well. I know this dojo community is working with people all over the world now. So let's get started. Let's see, Jeffrey, what questions do we have?
All right, starting us off is Stephen. Stephen Comic. I'm so sorry, I'm going to slander this. Lore. If you can unmute yourself and come into the room, please.
I think that's like a comic laureate, like poet laureate, right?
Yeah.
You're the Amanda Gorman of comedy, right?
You got it.
Okay.
Just don't ask.
Excellent. Yeah, what's your question, Stephen?
Whose idea was it to have pre-audition auditions? The pre-screeners that we're often asked to read now with our opening submissions, does that increase or decrease our chances? Do you have data on that? And then are there callbacks after the actual audition, or are they treated as callbacks by most of your clients?
So
That's a great question.
you're talking about the process of a backstage audition now.
Yes.
Yeah. So, nice to meet you, Stephen, and thanks for being on Backstage. That was my idea. I hope you like it. Oh man. I totally brought the pre-screen auditions to Backstage as a feature, an optional feature for clients to select. I found through my experience that it's a very common practice to audition with a custom audition versus a demo or a reel. From what I understand from clients is if they're working remotely with talent or working with talent working from home, they want to hear what their home studio sounds like. And they want the best way to test that is with a custom audition as part of the, with a custom audition. It also gives them a chance to hear your voice reading their words, using their artistic direction. So it gives them kind of a little sneak peek into how you take direction and what your voice sounds like and how you bring their script to life. And yeah, I found it was very commonplace in the voiceover casting industry, but was missing on Backstage. So something that they built. Now, absolutely, they'll take your pre-screen as your audition. It's rare. I don't have the exact stats on if a callback audition is requested after that. I would say it's pretty rare, and it's probably only likely, Stephen, if they want to hear something else from you. They liked your voice, but they want to hear it in a different tone or inflection somewhere else. So I would say it's not very likely. They'll most likely use your pre-screen as your main audition and make a decision from there.
Sonja, before we get too far from that, I've got a follow-up. You said to test your studio. I mean, oftentimes voiceover artists will be on the run and use their phone, app on their phone to record, and the quietest place is often the car, but sometimes they're not even able to get to the car to get it done and get it off. Is that a reality? They're actually testing, the noise floor of our studio with our initial pre-audition auditions?
I think for the most part, yes. However, if you are on the run and need to do an audition from your phone, I think mentioning that you just wanted to get this in as quickly as possible and you're recording from your phone. However, you do have a professional setup to record from. I think that's important. I know casting directors and clients who have selected talent from their iPhone auditions, knowing that they have a professional studio to record from.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
In fact, on Backstage, I've got a cover letter template that actually has the equipment that I have. I guess I would include that when I'm recording an audition remotely. I'll explain what I'm doing further.
Yeah. Can I interject
Thank
here
you.
for a second? Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're the man.
Of course, and I was just going to segue to you.
Yeah, no, it's a matter of why is there this overwhelming need to record on your phone or on the road if you're not going to be somewhere? It's like, I tend to think, and maybe Sonja will correct me if I'm wrong, time is important, but if you are going to say, I am going to do something on my phone, as opposed to waiting until you get back to your professional sounding studio, I think there's a professional piece to that. And the idea that, I can do it from anywhere, just isn't the case. The people that can use their phone are people who are established, well-known voice talents whose studios say, yes, we know this person can do it. And yes, we want to hear the audition if you can do it on your phone. But if you're just trying to start out and do it on your phone, you are really not doing yourself any favors.
Well, Dan, I have exception to that because, I mean, you might be out on a job, you might be on vacation, you might not be anywhere near your studio. So, I mean, there are circumstances which would arise where you need to use your phone or the equipment you bring with. I mean, I bring a portable studio with me, so to speak.
Right. I tend, if you're relying on every audition to get work, that's one thing, but you still have to be more relaxed about how you do all these sorts of things and not obsess about doing things on the road. And if you're on vacation, if there's one thing my wife hates, it's did you bring your microphone with you? It's as simple as that. If it's part of your lifestyle, but if you feel like you are totally you are totally committed to taking every audition that comes your way. I was sitting on a boat on the Danube a couple of years ago and got an email saying, here's a $2,000 job. I'm like, can it wait 2 weeks? No. Okay. Never mind.
Well,
A little bit of patience.
Yeah, I think this subject, this brings up a couple of different things to parse out here, because Stephen's asking about if you do, or if you are in a situation where you are choosing or need to, understanding that your sound setup, your sound engineering is also being considered as part of the job. So to clarify that. And then the subject that you bring up, Dan, is a how do we fit voiceover into our lives, and how do we choose to create the rhythms of our lives and our business? And totally, absolutely valid, important things.
Well, that's, if I may interject, that's why I have an ex-wife. She didn't like me recording when we were on vacation.
Well, there you have it.
I think that you sort of answered your own question. Yeah. I do have a bit of an attitude about it, but
but that's okay. Yeah, but I mean that we laugh, but it is how do we weave voiceover into the rich tapestry of our gorgeous lives and maintain and balance. It's a big entrepreneurial question, right? It started as a technical question of a workflow process, and then we've, as everything does, there's another facet to it. So yay. So great multifaceted questions, Stephen, comic laureate. Excellent. What other questions do we have here?
We're coming in fast. Funnily. I was going to say furious, but it's not really furious. It's wrong energy. Phyllis Fort, if you'd like to mute yourself and come into the room, please.
Okay. My question was, I've noticed on Backstage fairly recently, I guess, or I missed it, you've added on the profile page to add a bio. And I know there's already a cover letter, and I was wondering what the difference is and why did you add the bio?
That's a great question, Phyllis. I'm unaware of that change as well. So I actually don't know. But I can maybe look into that. I think it might have to do with profile completeness. We're working on encouraging our talent members to fully complete their profiles. And if a bio is missing, it might prompt you to add that. And that being something different than a cover letter is connected to your application on a specific role or job that you've applied to. Your bio is connected to your profile, and how complete your profile is helps you land more jobs. Because if creators are looking, and they'll look at your profiles and they want to learn more about you and your skills and abilities. So yeah, I wasn't aware that was something we
So this would be different from what's on your resume, I would guess. Like I thought I'd open up with something funny, like first time I was on camera, I was on Captain Kangaroo and I forgot my name. You know,
Well, I think this is a really interesting question, Phils, because it brings up several layers of things to consider. One, what is the function of a cover letter? What is the function of a bio? And what is the function of, what do you want? What is the function of these things? So how are we always considering how are we best serving our clients, right? I think bios are often hard to write for yourself because you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much about me. But what are those things that make it easy for your clients to go like, it's Phyllis. Excellent. She did and this and this and this. Awesome. That's what I need to know. Funny stories are charming. Are they the first thing? Is that going to be make or break it on getting you the job? Right. So I think, and then in terms of cover letters, you were also talking about a resume, right? So we've got cover letter, bio, and resume, three different things that are used in different ways for the client to find out things about you quickly, right? So a cover letter should not have anything about, or very succinct about why this detail has to do with what has to do with your job, right? Because a cover letter, nobody wants to read anything. It's like, hi, it's me, this, thank you, right? A bio is a place to round out a little bit more about what you have and the aspects and facets of yourself. And then a resume, here's the work I've done, right? So I think those are the questions that you need to clarify and then understand how, when they're being asked for in the format of Backstage, right? And then understand that Backstage has also different mediums that are being served in the casting process, right? So you have a profile, and so taking all of those things into consideration. And if you're including bio information in your cover letter, you might want to figure out how to make it the most short and sweet that you can, and also charming and personable. Charming and personable. So how do you capture that essence of, and the story was, well, I'm just thinking of another layer. Most people that you're going to be sending cover letters to were not even born when Captain Kangaroo was off the air.
Yes.
So they don't have any reference to, they were not born when, yeah. So you want to make sure your references are current as well. So yeah. Is that helpful, Phyllis?
Yeah, yes.
Good.
I would think the bio you can add outside resume stuff, maybe your other hobbies and such, maybe.
I think if there's, because it's interesting because you don't want to just be like, I eat toast for breakfast, right? There are things, I like jam on my toast, right? There are things that can be the things like, oh, I do dog rescue, or oh, I speak Portuguese or something like that. Those are things that you don't know where the connections with people are going to come. So yeah, play around. I also think also, like, if you meet somebody at a cocktail party, or like if you meet somebody at a party and you're like, hello, I was born in Chicago, Illinois, and da 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 da, like, oh, cool. I don't really need to know all that. So yeah. Good. Excellent. Great question. And I love how they're rippling with layers of implications there.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's next?
All right. We have our next question from Zeke Shungaris.
That's close enough.
Okay.
Tell us how it's said. Take your space. How do we say your name so we know?
Changuris. It's an Ellis Island hatchet job. So
okay, great.
Yeah, it's spelled nothing like it would be spelled in Greek. So,
you're a Greek boy.
Yes.
That's
my question is about making a character demo, and I've heard various things. I'm part of different groups, and some how should I be making this demo? Because I've got a commercial demo and a narration demo, but I don't have one that involves like real acting, like a character demo would. But where do I pull the material from? Where's the best place to pull that material from to do character stuff? Because I don't want to step on anybody's toes by pulling the wrong kind of material. I don't want to be copyright struck, or I don't want to. I've been told, don't do anything that anybody's ever heard before, because if you do that, they'll think of that actor and not you. So how do you recommend creating a good character demo?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think you need to know what kind of work that you are intending it for.
Okay.
If you're like, boom, I want to be an anime, right? Then that is, so know what kind of work you're going after. And then know what you are bringing to the party, right?
Right.
What are the voices that you are?
What are the kinds and types of characters that you would be comfortable voicing?
Exactly, exactly. And are they competitive, right?
Right.
Because we can all be old ladies and we can all be little kids, but can you beat Debbie Derryberry?
Okay.
Right? Because I've been in sessions where we were all around, and there was like, oh, we forgot to cast the little Brazilian favela boy. Hold on. And we went around, all the women in the room went, and they were like, just give it to Debbie, because she can do all the, so not to get discouraged because Debbie is Debbie, because there are the people at the dojo. We say, in order to break into voiceover, you need to be able to get on the freeway going 85 miles an hour with people who've been driving the Autobahn for 25 years. Can you do it? Yes. And that's Debbie. That's
80 is a little slow.
Yeah. So you don't want to be discouraged by that. Just what are you putting forward that is competitive? Let's see. So you're asking about where should
you source material from?
I frankly think if you are in the game to play at the highest levels or break in, to start working, right?
Mm-hmm.
Breaking in is one thing. To start working at competitive levels, invest in a competitive demo, right? And so and if you want to do samples of something, listen to what type of things are on the air, right? And maybe explore writing something like that. So I frankly, if you're on a path that animation is what you want to do, you don't want it to be a side thing. It's like, boom, this is what you want to do. I would say talk with a professional demo producer who knows those realms and will answer all those questions. You don't have to worry about those questions.
Okay.
You need to know yourself, right?
Right.
You need to know what you're bringing to the party. I think a little bit like the Captain Kangaroo thing too. We all need to be aware of what is currently going on in animation as well, because I think we might have ideas of what we watched as kids or whatever, and what's actually going on in animation, it may or may not be a little bit different than that.
I write about it as a side gig, so I've got my finger on the pulse of
good.
20 shows a season. So yeah,
fantastic. I think that's the real key. Sonja, Dan, any thoughts on this idea of character?
No, I think you hit the mark. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I did my character demo with Debbie Derryberry. So yeah, it's working with a good coach like Tish and some of the people we have at the dojo, and knowing you're ready to do a character demo and having it produced properly, and not haphazard, because anybody can do weird voices. But a character demo is about showing that you can maintain a character for an entire read. People can, and maintain a consistent character. And that's really, really important. So, if you want to do characters, you have to study it, and you got to learn it from the people that really know how to do it and are proven really good coaches at it.
Yeah. And I also think, at the dojo, we talk about the heart of each genre, and the heart of animation is bring it to life. So how, if you even have a little snippet of something that is a sample, how do we in that little snippet have the whole life force of the character coming out? Not
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it sounds like you got a lot in place, Zeke, and it does sound like your heart's in it. And so
Yeah, I mean, I did a wonderful workshop with Wes Johnson, and we focused on all sorts of characters from Elder Scrolls, and had a lovely emote session where
Mhm.
he's like, "I've just stabbed you with a broadsword. How do you sound?" And so,
Right, exactly. And that's bringing it to life. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. Yeah, excellent. Good. Well,
Okay.
hope that's helpful. And then I think it brings up the next layer of question of, does everybody need an animation demo? No. So yeah, again, where your heart lies. Good. Thanks, Zeke.
thank you.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
Oh yeah, go
before
ahead.
on to the next question, Zeke, before I don't know if you are a Backstage member or
I
not, but
am.
you are. Okay. We have partnerships with animation students, animation schools and animation students. And so there's quite a few of those types of jobs posted on Backstage. A lot of the time they are no pay, but they
That's
may be a good opportunity to just help build that reel.
right.
Um, if that's an option for you.
Yeah, that's something I have been looking for, but I knew I needed to create this. I've got the classic voiceover demo for narration, and
Mm.
come visit Club Med, the Blue Azure Seas, that stuff. But I needed something that shows acting more than,
Yeah.
yes, I can read some lines and sell you
Good.
a vacation.
Yeah. And then on the internal training part, we're unfolding all the layers of every question today here. But on the internal training part, I always get very curious when I say I need something. There's an energy around that. So get curious around that. Like I want, I should, I want, so be interested in that, because that's external forces. You said something else that triggers something else, but I think we're good. I think we're good. There's so many layers to every question here today. Good.
Thank you.
Awesome. Oh, look at Dojo. Jeffrey's introducing himself from the Bronx for the first time, coming to you from the Bronx. Yeah. What's the next question, Jeffrey?
All right, we got Charles Ardman coming in, and with your question.
Hi, good morning. Hi,
Hey,
Sonja.
Charles.
Thanks for being here. Before I ask my question, I just want to say I've been a member for over a year, and I want to pay big compliments to the people on your end or on the business end of the chat help function. They have consistently, been aces when helping me with any issue. So thanks
Awesome.
for that. And my question is, I've seen auditions where it's not clear about the usage, and I was wondering, is there any way that I can ask the poster any questions before submitting an audition? I've tried using the cover letter function, but I've never received any responses that way, and I haven't found another way to communicate.
Yeah, that's a great question. No is the answer, is the direct answer. There is no way to communicate with the client pre-audition. I understand there's some that are unclear about usage because it's just, for us, it's a free form box that they can fill out. We give guides and we try to educate the job poster on what should be included there. However, at the end of the day, it's up to them. Our casting team might reach out to the client for more clarification if it is unclear. So if if that was the if you were hesitant to audition until you had that clarification, I would maybe reach out to our customer support team and ask if they could get more clarification from the client. They might be able to, or they might not. I would say if you're not comfortable with the scope of the project, you don't have to audition. Or I would, like you did in the cover letter, mention, you are auditioning for this project. However, you would need more clarification on the usage before you could agree to the final, recording or price or budget or whatever. The clients are listening to your auditions first. They want to hear your voice first and foremost. I think if you then get shortlisted, then they will read your cover letters to confirm those sorts of details, the technical details, and who you are kind of as an artist. So keep that in mind when you're auditioning.
That's interesting. So in general, say yes until it's time to say no. If you have a question, and you know that there's already a concern, articulate that. Like,
Yes.
Here I'm in the mix, and this is the next layer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Good. Oh, and Kat, just wanted a clarification on what is the difference between pre-audition and regular audition?
So pre-screens is the term that we came up with at Backstage. I like to call them custom auditions. They're an audition at the end of the day. It's like the first round of auditions. The reason why we chose the word pre-screen is because Backstage is not only a voiceover platform, we also cast on-camera talent, models, influencers. And so pre-screen made the most sense for all verticals, I guess, in the business, but it is an audition. It is your audition for that project. Sorry, there's a fly. I'm like,
yeah, and so you're making a distinction also between just submitting a demo, being booked off your demo, versus doing a custom. Okay, so in terms of the world of Backstage, a pre-screen is just your audition.
That's right.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for asking for that clarification, Kat. That's good. Cool. What's next, Jeffrey?
Next question we have is, I'm going to pose it from Kira. Kira Gurney.
Kira.
Would love to see. Kira mentioned that they'd like to see more details in the posting, more word count, market size, usage details. Are there any plans at Backstage to start including more details on the job postings that are listed?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, there's this balance of things that work in the voiceover world, but don't necessarily translate for the on-camera world. And so it's always been left as that free form box with guides, with suggestions for the creator to include those details. With that being said, we are working towards a more personalized voiceover casting experience. And I think absolutely, yes, when we do make that form specific to voiceover, adding those details is really helpful for talent. So absolutely, it is something on our roadmap, I guess.
Right. So in some ways, I think it sounds like how Backstage is a resource and another in your diversified portfolio of places to connect with clients and opportunities. It's almost like thinking if you are with an a talent agency that covers all of the things but doesn't necessarily specialize in voiceover, right? If you're at an agency that doesn't necessarily have a voiceover department, then it might be sort of a multi-purpose thing. You will have the opportunities, but how is it? It might be different than just being at an agency that specializes in voiceover. So just understand what the platform is, and then keeping asking good questions and talking to the people who make things happen, because that's very good. Excellent. Awesome. What's next, Jeffrey?
Fawn Anderson had a question.
Anderson, what a good name. Hey, Fawn. Where are you?
I think this
Hi
might
everyone.
Okay.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry. I think I answered my own question. I just I'm totally just starting out. You are all blowing me away. I'm totally starting out. I have no experience, but I do have a 2.5-year-old podcast that's doing really well. And I was wondering, since I don't quite have a resume built up yet, how I can add things to tell people about me, about the kind of studio I have, about the sound quality, and how I can use the podcast as leverage to make people understand my voice, my studio, where I'm coming from, what I can do, things like that.
Excellent. Well, don't underestimate the power of being an influencer right now. But let's have Dan talk to you, talk about how to articulate what you have, because I think that's a really important thing. All of this years ago, back when Captain Kangaroo was on, we didn't have to worry about any of this or knowing how to have it or articulate it. But now it's really important that we both have it and we're able to speak clearly about it as part of how we deliver our services. So Dan, how would you answer Fawn's how to articulate tech stuff question?
Yeah, I really missed Mr. Green Jeans and anyway. Fawn, podcasting is not voiceover. And I think it's, I always have this saying that, just because everybody can do a podcast doesn't mean everybody should do a podcast. Now, clearly, if you have a successful podcast, you're one of those. Yes, you should.
Thank God you're here.
Thank God you're here. Audio with a podcast is very, very different from audio for voiceover, especially for commercial voiceover. I would need to hear what your audio sounds like. If you're doing it with a headset mic, it's not going to help you very much. Okay, what are you using? Unmute yourself.
Well, I'm using a Shure mic. I use a Mix Pre. It's basically video equipment for professional video shoots.
Okay.
But it's a whole setup. But it's a Shure mic. Shure.
Well, a Shure mic is, that could be one of about 20 different models and stuff like that. If it's like a Shure USB mic or something like that.
So that's a first layer of question. What mic? How would you say the make, model, etc. of your mic? So that would be a good first thing to know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So things along those lines. And before you send in auditions, have somebody who knows exactly what it's supposed to sound like, my acronym WHISTLE, before you start sending stuff out, because you don't want to lose work because your audio is not where it needs to be.
And what would you say, Dan, what is the difference between podcast? Is it, for instance, is podcast more broadcast, more radio oriented?
Well, it's a matter. Generally, people in podcasting are using dynamic mics, like RE20s and RE320s,
a dynamic mic is one where the sound is captured through a physical process, right?
Well, as it is with a condenser, but a dynamic mic is a lot less sensitive.
There we go.
And you have to be a lot closer to it. And we don't talk to people half an inch from their eardrum. You want to sound as natural as possible, which is why we use studio condenser mics. Now, if you're using one of those, that's great. The most important thing is, what is the acoustical ambiance of the place in which you are recording. All the equipment in the world doesn't make a difference if you're recording in your bathroom. I know you're not recording in your bathroom. You know, if you've got a professional video set up, it's probably fine, but I would still recommend that you have somebody who knows exactly what it's supposed to sound like. Listen to it before you start sending out auditions with that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I am actually in the process of setting up a whole different studio than our podcast studio just for voiceover. But as far the podcast sounds really beautiful. Like the last 2.5 years, it's not just about the content, but the quality of the sound is
Right.
one of the comments we get is how wonderful it is.
Right.
So it's not about that. I was just wondering, should that be on the resume, or is it too frivolous, or
So that's the next layer of our we have these beautiful cakes that we're building here today on Ask the Sensei. So the next layer is what you're talking about, Fawn, is how do you take the mastery and success that you're having in one medium and translate it to another, or the other, and then that goes for podcasts, that goes for being a Broadway singer, that goes for being an ER doc, right? That how do we all take what our mastery and expertise is, and apply it to this? So then just in the same way that whatever your experience in the world, you have brought to your what is your podcast called? And can we promote it here?
I would love that. It's Our Friendly World with Fawn and Matt, and it's a podcast on the art of friendship, transforming our society to be better. Can I put it in the link? I mean, in the chat?
Please
Feel
do.
free.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And in alignment with being friendly. Yeah, so that's great. And so a couple of layers here. So then in the same way that you weren't a podcaster one day and now you are a successful podcaster, there was a process to learning what was required and then understanding what you were bringing to the party and then making sure that a level of excellence and then being able to, so the same thing, how do you do that for voiceover, right? We work with a lot of podcasters who come through, you should do voiceover just to be able to make that transition. So here's the whole overview of it. So that might be a great place to start to get, because we can all ask questions all over, right? And asking good questions is the heart of building your business and everything, right? Knowing what good questions to ask, you'll get good answers. So that's an internal training thing. And then if you get a lot of answers all at once, you can go faster. So that's another thing. And then the third layer of this one is, what is happening in the world right now and how are we connecting with each other, which is the subject of your podcast. But podcast is a way that people are connecting with each other. So you're saying, is it pertinent? Well, yes and no, because if you have a following as a podcaster, that is of interest to people who are working in realms that make money. Right? Sorry, welcome to the world, babies. One of the first things we say here at the dojo is voiceover is an art form that serves commerce. Get through it or don't do it, right? If you have a problem with it, get through it or don't do it. So don't underestimate the allure and the draw of having a successful podcast. I remember in the before times being at the hallowed halls of A3 in Los Angeles, beautiful, beautiful office, and talking with my voiceover agent and him going, you see those people there? Those are the influencers. They just made a deal for this kid to do like 30 minutes at Coachella for $100,000. Like that's where the money is. That's where the money is. So don't underestimate, and it may not be that the client who hears your voiceover audition cares, but the agent who as you build your skills and develop your business, et cetera, so don't underestimate how cool what you're doing, which is having something that is your voice in the world, both in content and literally your voice, is valuable, right? And that goes for everybody, right? So, that helpful? And come check out, you should do voiceover, because it's designed exactly for these questions that are on your mind. And
Thank
then
you so
and then you
much.
don't have to go like, oh, wait, what? You're just gonna, oh, okay, I get it. So awesome.
I appreciate you so much. I'm
Yeah.
again just starting out and I want to learn as much as possible. And I'm very grateful for your time. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And then for everybody, another internal mindset thing, heart set thing. Fifth rule of the dojo is cultivate beginner's mind. So just because you're starting out, don't underestimate that is a powerful, potent place to be. Because you're like, yeah, what do I need to know? Yeah. That's good. It's powerful to be at the beginning. So awesome. All right, we're talking so many layers. We have time for more questions.
We sure do. Next one is from our good friend Terry Briscoe. Terry, come on down.
Not a first-time caller. Awesome. Hi, Terry.
Hey,
He's
Tish, what's up?
regular.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Jeffrey.
Hey, Jerry.
So I got the most basic of all questions, but it is still a very important one. And I want to know how often we should be refreshing our demos and samples.
Anyone wanna go for that?
Well, I think traditionally it's like, you have to be culturally literate and know what's new, what the trends are and things like that. And that means probably updating them every 2 to 3 years. Some people have like 10 or 15 demos to, in different genres and stuff like that. Commercial demo that needs to be professionally produced. Yeah, those can be kind of expensive, but you should probably refresh those every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, and then do you have a thought on that, Sonja, or is it in your realm?
No,
Not in your realm. Not in realm. We'll just get the demos and we'll get you with the jobs. That's good. I think it's also, I think why would you be refreshing? Is there a new skill set? Have your skills improved in a tangible way, that what you did on this demo, on your first demo or your second demo, what you're able to deliver is at a different level? That would be a great reason to redo your demo. If you have products on there that no longer exist, that would be a great reason to.
What if you improved your studio?
Ideally, if you have a professionally produced demo, you've done it in some place that is professional sound. So either it's your studio. If your demo was produced in a subpar thing, you should redo your demo right now. If you produced your demo in a subpar sound situation, then get off the call and go do it right now. If you have had a professionally produced demo, then it should be calibrated at a level of sound quality that it doesn't, and then what we're listening for is that should be a given, right? So if your sound quality has changed, that's an audition level thing, right? That people will be hearing on their thing, and you'll be updating on your website, et cetera, right?
Yeah, it's important to note that, if you mention that you have this and that on your resume, that's kind of important, but really the bottom line is, does it sound good? Everybody keeps talking about this nebulous concept of broadcast quality. And what that means to me is that it doesn't sound bad. And there's lots of things that can make it sound bad. And you've got to understand those variables and how to correct them. Again, and it's usually something physical. So saying you've got a TLM 103 or a U87 doesn't mean anything if, you're hearing skateboarders in front of your house, which I've literally heard with people with U87. So
right, because it's like having a sonar right in the water. I hear the whale.
And nobody needs to see how the sausage is made. It all depends on what they're hearing on the other end, and if it sounds good, it is good.
And then coming back to the why and when to redo your demo, what is the purpose of a demo? So if a lot of the purpose of a demo is to build your representation team, right? So if you're in a situation where you're rebuilding your demo to go talk to new people and want, like buy a new outfit for the date you're going on, right? Yeah, and make sure clothes fit. Understand the purpose of what you're doing. And then, sometimes it's good to get a haircut and change it up a little bit. So how are you putting yourself forward? And then knowing what you're marketing, you might change, like, ooh, I'm really interested in putting my foot forward as a voice in the healthcare industry. And my current demo does not have a healthcare industry point. Like, so how are you using it and thinking strategically and as a marketing tool, right? And then also refreshing your demo gives you a reason to tell people that you've refreshed your demo, right? The caveat I would say is we don't want to be focusing on the stuff that's the getting ready to get ready stuff, right? It's really easy to go like, oh, my demo, oh, it's not that, it's this. So make sure that whatever you're doing, while you're doing it and getting it, moving you forward, not keeping you. One of my mentors talks about the metaphor of running a business as a restaurant, right? So if you have your doors closed and you're just worried about the napkins in the restaurant, doesn't matter if people aren't coming into your restaurant. So anyway, that's a whole nother business level of things. Okay, let's do some more questions. Thanks,
you.
Terry. Hope that was helpful.
All right.
So many layers of things, of everything. Yeah.
I'm gonna post this one from C.R. Glassman because C had a role.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's kind of piggybacking on the same subject of special skills. So I think I'd like to pose it in a way of if you do have a special skill that relates to voiceover or illustrates more about you as a performer or artist, what is a good way to outline that on backstage.com? Like which subject is that? How should I phrase it in a way that's not simply just like, I'm really good at doing character voices? Is there like a certain like cheeky way to do it, or should you just be professional with it? Any advice as far as that goes?
Specifically on Backstage, and to clarify, to make sure I understand the question, you have a niche skill that you want to highlight on your profile. How do you make that stand out? Because
we've been talking about podcasting, character work, and all these different specific skill sets that there seems to be a desire to want to go into greater detail about how that influences somebody's overall capabilities. I don't know if I just made it more complicated or actually helped.
I'm not clear, Jeffrey. Are you talking about because Backstage is cross-platform, like serves a variety of different mediums? How do you articulate that you are part of all of them? Or are you talking about how to distinguish oneself within the profile?
The latter. How to better distinguish yourself as a unique skill set.
Yeah, I think that, again, making sure your profile is complete is the biggest thing. Make sure that you have your skills section complete and you're tagging the correct skills that you have. That will make you stand out in that clients who are looking for that specific skill will filter or search our database or the auditions by those skills, and then you'll come to the top. So I think it just, again, speaks to having a complete profile where you are highlighting those unique, special niche skills that you have, whether it be an accent, language, or character improvisation, whatever it is.
Right.
just make sure your profile is showing that off, because the filters will apply against it, I guess,
Right.
or help you be found.
Right. And what I'm hearing is understand the nature of the platform you are presenting yourself in.
Yeah.
Backstage West is an SEO based. How do we filter out? Everyone puts in their information. How do we filter out? This seems to be the ones that are purple or the purple range. So understand the nature of the beast. So it doesn't matter how quippy or charming you are on an SEO beast thing. It's, are you red? Are you blue? Are you yellow? And then when you make contact with a client, then your charming personality or those things that differentiate us on a human basis. So don't worry about what being charming on an SEO based thing. Just have all the freaking words, right? And then optimize that. Just optimize. Yeah. I know we have just a few. So hopefully that's helpful for all of us. We only have a couple more minutes, but one thing, Sonja, one of the reasons that I wanted to invite you to be here is I know that recently Backstage West acquired Voice 123, and that was a little fervor or a ripple of that. So I just wanted to talk, and then you just shared something about another fish that is. So I just wanted to, while we have you here, I think it's an interesting conversation for all of us to understand wherever we are setting up our, outposts of interaction, wherever we are setting up outposts to interact with clients, to understand the nature of it, and to make sure that we are not relying on one only, because we are then at our entire business is built on someone else's chassis. And if they drive this way and we don't want to go that way. So can you share a little bit about that, Sonja, about what that looks like, how it works, what you've noticed, how it might impact people? And then we'll wrap up, and we'll wrap up. Yeah.
Cool. So last year, what year is it? I don't know. Last year, Backstage acquired. Last year, Backstage acquired Voice 123, along with other online casting platforms and just industry cool tools like ShareGrid and Coverfly. Industry, I'm speaking like entertainment, film production in general. Voice 123 being one piece of it. We also acquired Mandy and Star Now, and we've worked into integrating with those platforms. They were similar enough to Backstage that an integration made sense. However, with Voice 123, it does not. And from my understanding, I'm not part of the strategic conversations. I'm a casting specialist, on the ground doing the work. But to my understanding, the brands are going to live separately and cross promote and learn from each other and collaborate. So there won't be much change coming for Backstage or Voice 123 members. From my understanding, it's going to stay the same. If anything, it's just going to improve because we're going to learn from each other and help each other out. And then just this year in March, we were acquired by Cast and Crew, which is a large payroll company.
Payroll, like notice on your checks where they're coming from. Yeah.
Your checks come from Cast and Crew. I'm in Canada, and not an actor, so I don't get that. But from my understanding, that's what it is. And yeah, Cast and Crew is an even bigger fish that then acquired Backstage, that now has acquired all these 10 other companies. So we don't know what the future is going to hold, but I think it's an exciting time. And I think that all of these collaborations and partnerships are going to lead to benefit the industry as a whole. So all good things here. I know it's time, so thank you so much for having me. If there's any questions that were outstanding, please connect with me on LinkedIn, Sonja Smith on LinkedIn. Happy to connect with you all and answer your questions if we didn't get to them, or further, answer any future questions. And yeah, it's been my pleasure to be on here and meet all of you and chat. Yay.
Yes, thank you, Sonja, for being here. And Dan, how do people keep in touch with you?
Well, you can go over to my website, homevoiceoverstudio.com, and you can
all the many ways that
yes, and I have my
Dan.
Yes, I do have my specimen collection cup at the top of the page now. So when you go there, it's easy to submit an audio sample to me so I can do an analysis there. And watch Voiceover Body Shop at vobs.tv or on Facebook every week. George Whittam and I have lots of cool information all the time, and there's lots of episodes to pick from, but the latest one is always the most fun.
Yeah, and I think, what this call is about and what all this is about, connecting you to the people who are doing the things that you want to do. So all of this being a part of Backstage is doing that. All the things that Dan's beautifully part of, and he comes here. So it's really, how do we stay connected? And that's really the heart of the dojo, is how do we stay connected with the people who are doing the things that we want to do. Jeffrey, you want to share how everyone can keep in touch with the dojo?
Absolutely. I just dropped some links in the chat below. You can always visit our website at the VO Dojo, thevodojo.com, to keep up with our upcoming events. If you want to take this a step further and have a more personalized conversation, you can always sign up for a voiceover once over. It's a free 15-minute conversation with the dojo team. And if you would like to jump right in, we have 3 more 6-week intensives of the You Should Do Voiceover for this year coming up. There's 1 in August and 2 in October. Those are also on our website. Check out the links to see more details about that.
Yeah, and this is happening the first Wednesday of every month, the third Wednesday of every month. We have Get to Know VO. There's lots of ways to keep in touch. And we work with everyone from, I don't know, to working pros. So wherever you are on that journey, we're here to meet you and help you get all the way to where you want to go. There is a scholarship that you can apply for. That's happening. I think the due date is the 10th. Do we have information about that, Jeffrey? Is that on the website?
Let me see if I can find that room.
And if not, if you're interested in that, send an email to info@the-VO-Dojo about the scholarship, because the deadline is the 10th of August.
And if I can't find it immediately, then it will come in the email that also contains the recording of this. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, guys. Well, thank you, Dan, and thank you, Sonja. I know you've got a lot going on outside and inside. Sonja's going to have a baby in a month. So thank you. Great to have you all here. Come back every Wednesday. We're here to help and support you wherever you are, to get you wherever you'd like to be. So we'll see you soon, and thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Jeffrey. Bye, everyone.